Wow, nice.
Hey, man, we have to have appropriate music.
This is Sam Spence.
Yeah.
And when you're in the mood, I listen to this doing cardio. From San Benito.
So then you hear it once a year?
Yeah. and then I rest the other 364 days.
Yeah, rest is where you grow.
Yeah.
I guess that's recovery.
But I love these NFL film songs.
It was a cold, wintry night in Green Bay.
The frozen tundra
Yeah.
did not stop this Mexican juggernaut.
Yeah. Raphael Septien. You remember him, bro? Do you remember Raphael Septien?
You mean Septien from the Cowboys?
No. Yeah.
Yeah, the kicker.
Septien, yeah.
Yeah, Raphael Septien.
Okay. I was gonna, if you didn't know, I was gonna ask Alex Del Barrio over here.
Oh, well, he has to know everything.
This guy's got to know everything, bro.
I know. We'll put him on the spot here in a bit.
As a matter of fact, let's start right now.
Yeah.
I always get into these situations where everyone thinks it's a giant trivia contest. When you sit at the bar, you know, Rock, it's like people want to tell you, oh, do you know this drummer from that band that had one album in 1979? Like,
and I do.
And you,
yeah, and I do.
But like, it's a constant. When you do this, it's a constant test all the time from anybody you interact with.
That's
so
right.
It's funny. Yeah.
Well, there's no difference with it tonight.
Yeah.
Because,
I knew this was coming. So it's all right.
Don't worry, we only got 50 questions. I just kidding.
Yeah. And for each wrong answer, you lose a piece of clothing.
Yeah, you'll make it out of here just in time for your 6 o'clock newscast tomorrow night.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Del Barrio from KRGV Channel 5, sports anchor, man. What's going on, Alex? How you doing?
Dude, I'm so excited to be here, man. You and I go way back. I don't know how far back you realize this, but just knowing that you've built this media empire here in your living room, bro. This is like what I want to be doing, But I'm excited to be here with you guys. It's fun to just hang out, bro. It's just fun to hang out.
Pinche Alex, let the cat out of the bag, baby. Estamos en el pinche living room y la chinga. Todos pensaban que estábamos en la 17th floor ahí en el pinche Tower Bank y la chinga.
Chase?
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Alex.
No, he's trying to kind of.
Hey, we're keeping the overhead now, man.
Está en la pinche sala, pinche rack, está en la sala. Ahí está el baño, está la cocina y la chica. Están los perros corriendo.
Thanks for burning us.
Yeah, thanks a lot, dude.
Yeah. So let's get to those questions.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So we're gonna do one because we got more. All right, we got more. We don't want to bombard him right away.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Well, he burned.
He's coming fresh from newscast. Y pues ya sabes, we don't want to, no lo queremos a bully así. ¿Me entiendes la onda? So, what is the highest?
What?
Wait, hold on a second.
That didn't even make sense.
Who is the highest?
Yeah. Who has the highest score in a single game in NBA history? Is it A, Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, B, C, Wilt Chamberlain, or D, LeBron James?
Let's see. Wilt Chamberlain, 100 points.
100 points, Papa?
Yeah, now, that was a hueva, right? That's getting...
To be fair, there's no video evidence that this ever took place. The only thing that exists is the box score. I mean, this was back in the day when, games weren't even on national television in the NBA back then. And you were lucky if the local TV went to go cover you.
Yeah.
So that's why every time they talk about that, the only picture you ever see of it is Wilt after the game holding up a piece of paper that's got 100 on it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the only thing you've ever see about it. But it happened apparently.
It's just rare as a Van Halen Live 1978 video, dude. You don't find that stuff either. But you're correct. Wilt is he the one that had all those women, like 20,000 women?
Yeah.
Is it Wilt Chamberlain?
He's the one that claimed that it was, I think it was 10,000 women, he said.
Wasn't it 25,000?
And then the number kept changing, man. You know how athletes are as they get older.
I would forget too,
yeah,
right?
Exactly.
I'd miss a few thousand.
Well, once you get past 1,000, like you could just keep raising the number. Nobody's gonna know, right?
And again, there's no proof of this. I mean, sure, he did have chlamydia a couple of times, but
Oh my God!
how do we know it's that number?
His pecker fell off. They put it back on. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's
The baby arm.
I think Gene Simmons comes in second as far as more women.
Or he's tied with Ric
Almost.
Flair.
Something like Ric Flair as well.
Yeah, and then after them, it's Alex Del Barrio.
Yeah.
I don't share my number, guys.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hashtag PVT Wednesday Night Live. It is brought to you by Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. You feel sluggish, tired, gain weight. You're looking for a primary care clinic to help improve your quality of life. You want to have the same game as Wilt Chamberlain?
Yeah.
This is what you got to do. You got to call 1-855-771-1650 or drtees.com. If you're single, you'll lose count. You will lose count. If you're married, you'll be having breakfast with tortillas recién hechas, homemade, handmade en la mañana, papá, porque sabes que vas a estar haciendo un buen trabajo en la recámara, papá, okay? So you call these guys, 1-855-771-1650. Hormone replacement therapy, weight loss therapy, IV vitamin infusion, and peptide therapy, all designed to help you feel great and healthy again. Also, if you do go to the gym and you're working out and you want something that'll refresh you and that'll hydrate you, you want to try Oxydrate Alkaline Water, man. This is the best. We have a refrigerator full of them because this is all we drink. We even have it for our guests. Alex Del Barrio, man, show them your
here we go.
everybody's got their bottle of water or what? Put it
Yeah.
on the camera, man. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, look at this, man.
So there you go. This will cure your hangover. One bottle on Monday morning when you've had a 3-day bender.
Right.
You drink one of these and you're fresh when you get to work. And if you're going to show up to work late, just stop and pick up some breakfast tacos and you'll be all right, okay?
Well, I tell you what, if you're going to be going to Dr. T and you're going to put in overtime, you got to stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So these two products go hand in hand.
So call Smoke and Joe 956-684-2848. That's the number on the screen right now that you're watching. And buy a few cases and keep them there handy because it's good. It's great water for you, some alkaline water. So we've got Alex Del Barrio. Alex, once again, we appreciate you taking the time. You just got off of work, right? You were
I came in and did the 6 o'clock. We're done at 7. You know, we run 6 to 7, and then as soon as we're done here, I got to go back and do the 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's crazy because back when I was a kid, I mean, news was just 6 o'clock, 5:30, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
and then you had a noonday show, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had the early morning. I remember waking up as a kid in 4th grade, and Carlos Quintana was doing the news in Spanish on Channel 5 in the morning, about 5:30 or 6 a.m., And so now, I mean, he stopped doing it, and then they brought in a whole team in the morning. So how many newscasts do you all have there, bro?
So we run, the morning show runs, and we're ridiculously early. I think we start at 4:30.
And what time does the host have to show up to work?
So not to give too much of the magic away, but they're usually there about 1:30 or 2 a.m. because sometimes I'm working until 1:30, 2 a.m., especially during football season where you're going to throw up a bunch of stuff on the web afterwards. And they're walking in, when I'm walking out. So, but the producers are even there even earlier. They're there about 10 o'clock, 10:30 for the next morning. And then they get out of there at 6 a.m. And then we've got the noon show. We used to have a 4. We don't have a 4 anymore. We've got the 5, we got the 6, which is an hour long, and then we have the 10, which is a half hour. 10 used to be an hour, now it's just 10 to 10:30 because Jimmy Kimmel has to start at 10:30.
Yeah, the reruns.
Exactly. They were rerun. Are they still reruns? I haven't watched.
I think so. There's a writers' strike or something
that's true.
like that.
Yeah.
So there's they're not they're showing reruns of that. But I think honestly we watch Channel 5, right? I mean, that's
all the time.
Channel 4 and Channel 23, I think they're the same company.
Same owners.
And then they're Spanish, news as well. But, we're from here, from the Rio Grande Valley. We've been here all our lives. So, we've always trusted in Tim Smith. And, Tim, dude, how long has the guy been there, bro? He's been there for a long time, man.
I think he's at 38 years, something like that. Yeah, he's a little bit over what Dave was. And Dave retired in 2020 when I got there. And he had been mostly retired, semi-retired for a while.
He was doing that 60 seconds.
60 sports seconds, and he would come in and do Dave's Dozen, which there's the countdown for high school football and stuff. And he'd do some other side projects every now and then. But he fully retired, and I think he was at 35 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Is he still around?
Oh, yeah. He's over in Brownsville.
Okay.
Enjoying life, but just not having to show up at sports.
How was he in person, man? I never really got to meet the guy.
I've only met him once
Uh-huh.
in person in my life because when I got to Channel 5, we were in the middle of COVID.
Okay.
Like I got to Channel 5 in May of 2020. I had been at the other station in town for a couple years prior, and then I had started working at CBS Sports doing games. And then Joel, who had been at Channel 5 for 12 or 13 years, Joel Villanueva.
Oh, Villanueva.
Yeah, from far.
Why do I want to say Quintanilla?
I have no idea.
Joel Quintanilla.
Joel.
I must
Yeah,
know
Joel.
somebody. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
know Joel.
Yeah.
Joel.
And he up and moved to Reno with his girlfriend, and I think they've since got married and everything. And he lives out in Nevada now. So the job came open. My news director that was at 4 was now at 5, and it just worked out. And here I was doing sports from my office because we were getting the new studio put in, and no sports to talk about other than trying to figure out, are we going to have a football season? What's going to happen? But yeah, and so Dave never came in because it was in the middle of COVID, and then right about the end of COVID, or right about the end of when 2020 started to kick in, where football happened, but it was like social distancing, only parents could go and all that jazz.
Yeah.
He just decided, I'm done. So,
Done, yeah.
but what a run for him, what a run for Tim and all those guys. We've got, that's the thing that makes Channel 5 what it is. It's the longevity of the folks that are on air.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Brown was there since the 70s, I think. And then you had Letty Valadez.
Yeah.
Peter Torgerson, he won the freaking
Lottery?
the
Lottery, yeah.
And he
We're all still trying to get that same Peter Torgerson luck, man, bro.
yeah, dude. And I remember when he had won, but he came on the air and he never said anything, because But and then I can't remember who was doing weather before Tim Smith. I think it was Dr. Dave or something like that. Wasn't it a doctor?
All right. I was born in 1983, man. So Tim Smith is the only guy that
That's
I.
a good question.
Yeah.
But Tim Smith, man. So you're from locally from the Rio Grande
Mission,
Valley.
yeah.
From Mission, Texas, man.
Yeah.
Graduated what year, bro?
2001.
2001.
Yeah.
And so you're 18, 28, 38, almost 40? Or
I turned 40 on May the 9th.
May the 9th. Wow, happy
Yeah.
birthday,
Happy
dude.
birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
So how does it feel being 40, bro?
Well, I still think I'm 39 because I don't count that COVID year. So like we're gonna count 40 next year.
He's now in
probably.
the-
No,
in
it's
the-
it's good, man. I feel just like I always, man, and I've always lived life like an adventure, man. So just keep going this media adventure that we're on. You act young. I mean, you look the same now that you did 20 years ago, bro. And 'cause I swear to God,
he
man,
looks better.
you probably look better. Yeah, actually.
I've changed every decade. I change, but you look great. I don't know if it's the makeup, leftover makeup from the from the newscast, or
it's the 50 pounds
but
I've
it
lost
looks
in the
great.
last
Oh yeah.
10 months, 11 months or
Oh,
so.
wow.
How did you do that?
I got on that Manjaro shot.
Oh.
I was, we were talking about Low T, right? Your sponsor. My testosterone was low, and I
Okay.
was like, because I was getting up there, getting near 40, and that's when you start to
Yes,
go down
sir.
quite a bit. And because I was working out hard for good 2.5 years with a trainer, and I was getting stronger. Like I felt good, but I wasn't losing any weight, man.
And
I
what was
still
your
sluggish.
weight? What were
I
you
think
weighing?
I was a high that I remember on the scale, and it could have been higher than this. I was 248,
okay.
and I weighed in at 195 today.
Wow.
Wow, that's
pretty damn
awesome.
good, bro.
Yeah,
That is
bro.
And what
awesome.
is that shot that you were taking? What does it
So
do?
it's a shot that's right now it's only FDA approved for people with type 2 diabetes, but it's the way to kind of curb their appetite and
Oh,
and
yes.
that A1C or whatever that I don't know the technical medical
Yeah.
procedures of what's going on. But essentially, for me, it just kind of kills my appetite and shrinks it down.
Yeah.
And they say that the effects are, and I can speak to it, that it's just about as successful as having the gastric bypass without having to have surgery.
Yeah.
And you just it's one shot a week. And, and the only thing that's really changed in my life, I still work out the same amount. My energy has gone up tremendously. My testosterone has gone up as a result of losing the weight, because that was the idea. Is like, well, let's help you lose the weight,
Yeah.
and then your testosterone should go up naturally because it wasn't low enough to need supplements yet.
Órale.
So. But yeah, man, I'm feeling good. My energy's high, and I feel as good as I've ever been, man.
There's also-
I weigh less now than I did my senior year of college.
That's great.
Yeah, man.
I tell you what, Alex, let's show everybody your abs. Round of applause.
That's good, man. Washboard.
Yeah.
Let me go watch the.
I gotta get some cryo or whatever. I got the.
There's another product called Ozempra, I think it's called.
Ozempic, yeah.
Ozempic, and those products are found at Dr. T's, ladies and gentlemen. The product that Alex is talking about, you can find it at Dr. T's Primary Care for Men and Women. If you need to lose some weight, talk to them, and it's better to do it under. You did it under a physician's care.
Yeah,
and everything?
endocrinologist, man. Yeah, I went to go see one, and he's like, "Dude, let's put you on this and see." Again, he was taking it too, so that gave me some reassurance because it's still kind of an experimental for people for obesity, but it's supposed to get FDA approved fully for obesity, in the next.
Did
month
your
or so.
insurance cover it or no?
No, there's a manufacturer's coupon right now.
Yeah,
because otherwise it'd be way out of my price range.
I think that if you're like your body mass is a certain level, or you're diabetic, it'll be covered.
Yeah,
but if you're borderline diabetic, there's still a chance. They want you to try other avenues before they go that route.
Exactly.
But ladies and gentlemen, whatever you need, you go to Dr. T's Primary Care for Men. They'll help you out, and that's awesome that you've gone through that journey. How long did it take you to lose all that weight? Because that's about 50 pounds.
50
right?
pounds, yeah. I think I started taking it in September of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So we're May, so not even a year.
April, May, yeah.
About
8
9
months?
months?
8 months?
Yeah.
8, 9 months, yeah.
Going
That's
on
pretty
9.
good, bro.
Yeah, dude.
You never really looked overweight to me on TV, bro, and that's because the camera adds, pounds to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
if you put them side by side, man, it's really night and day. I get emails just about every day from someone's like, "Hey, man, what are you doing?"
Mm-hmm.
And at first I wasn't really kind of commenting on it. It's like what people are doing is medical stuff is their own business, but I am kind of encouraged to tell people about it now because I think obesity needs to be taken care of just like because you're preventing heart disease, you're preventing all those other things later in life if you can help someone lose their weight.
Yeah.
Because some people don't have the ability to lose weight the way everyone's body type is different and responds different to diets and exercise and all that stuff.
Well, that's why I was thinking, insurance companies would be smart to, approve it for people that will probably cost them a lot more money with the health issues they'll have coming up later in life. So, I think it'll be and there's so many things happening in technology. I mean, I don't know. Do you know who Ray Kurzweil is? Mm-mm. The guy, he's the one that he created speech to text.
Okay, yeah.
And he's with Google. He predicted that by 2030 we'll have the opportunity or the option to become immortal through nanobots in our bloodstream. So
wild.
I mean, there's so many things going on, and medical advances have just helped out. And
so Alex could be the last sports broadcaster ever for Channel 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the next 100 years.
Android in my place. It looks just like me.
So once you got out of school in Mission, what did you do? You went to college?
So I went to Boston University.
Oh, wow,
I was there for 3 years, and then I finished it at Pan American. But I was there during a real boom in New England sports. Like right when the Patriots won their first Super Bowl was 2002, I guess it was, or 2000. Yeah, it was 2002 because I started the fall of 2001, and they won the Super Bowl in 2002. And then, they obviously won 3 of 4 in that span. The Red Sox won the World Series in 2004. The Celtics got good again. So it was like a really cool time to be living in New England during that time. And I did like student radio stuff. I was the mascot for Boston University for a little while.
So you wore the
dog costume. We were the Terriers, right? So a dog costume, man. So I did a little everything, bro. You know how it is, man. You got to try to dip your toe in a bunch of different waters just to meet people in the industry, That
was our form of networking back then.
Yeah, man. You had to try out for, sports marketing and sports radio and this and that or whatever. And I would announce the wrestling, the amateur wrestling matches that we would have there. So I did a little of everything. And then I came back in about 2004. And then that's when all of our sports here boomed. That's when the Killer Bees came in. So I started helping them out with their TV broadcasts.
That's a hockey team, ladies and gentlemen, that was here in Hidalgo.
It's funny. I think about it like it was yesterday they were here, but it's been like 10, 12 years now.
They even put a big Killer Bee in Hidalgo, right? There's like a big Killer Bee, and it didn't last long, man. It was about 10 years.
About 10 years, I think, was the run of it. And then we had the Roadrunners. I did their games. That was my first play-by-play job, was doing the Roadrunners games when they won in 2004. And then, I started doing Pan Am basketball. I had the show on K-Sox for a little while. And, and then when I started with the Vipers, Mr. Saphir was at Entravision, Univision, Fox, and I was doing the Vipers games, and he was one of the owners of the team. He still is, and he's like, "Hey, man, I need somebody to do sports, man. I got one of my sales guys, Doug Spence, who had been at Channel 4.
I remember Doug Spence.
He was doing sports. He's like, yeah, man, but I'm a play-by-play guy. That's what I want to do. He's like, well, I'll let you do both. And I was like sign me up, man.
Yeah.
So because he still let me travel with the team and all that. And,
Yeah.
And you know, Mr. Saphir, man, he has an eye for talent, man.
Yes.
He doesn't know where you come from. You know, like Belen de Leon, who was our meteorologist or forecaster at the time. She's now a meteorologist. She's in LA as a meteorologist. She was a singer, man.
She went to Denver, and she was with La Onda.
La Onda, right?
Yeah, and then she was in my morning show. She was one.
That's right.
She was one of my sidekicks there.
That's right.
I had a crew, and she was the ear candy for our listeners.
Yeah.
You know, and she was a very nice looking girl as well.
And just finds talent, you know, that don't come from traditional schools or media or outlets or whatever. And he just finds these people and makes stars, man. He was a true star maker. Man.
Yeah, he is. You know, I have a lot, respect for Larry and Mr. Saphir. I mean, he helped me get through my tough times, you know, and he didn't give up on me.
No, that's the other thing, man. He's got a big heart, man, and he's really understanding of how to get it out of you.
Yeah,
you know?
he helped me get through my 2 rehabs, and and open the doors back so I can be back on my job. And so, yeah, man, the guy is quite a person, man, quite a man, and we really appreciate him. And so you were there for a little bit there then at Fox. From what year to what year was that?
I think I was there April of 2008 till sometime in 2010 or whatever. And then I went to the Vipers full time.
Okay.
For a year. And then when I left the Vipers, I was at Pan Am working in sports information for a little while, and then I got my job with the Globetrotters, and I was working with the Globetrotters for a couple of years.
How did that happen? Did you catch up with them when they came down to one of our arenas here?
No. So when I was doing the Pan Am games, one of our coaches, Tom Schuberth, used to play for the Generals. Mm-hmm. Like he was a general in his playing career, like way back in the late 80s. And
the New Jersey Generals,
the Washington, the team that plays the Globetrotters, Washington Generals.
Oh, okay, basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
Okay.
So our basketball, he would tell me about like all the places he's gone. I was like, man, being an announcer for the Globetrotters would be awesome.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And I knew some people that did like announcing for like the wannabe Globetrotters, the Harlem Wizards, and there's another team called like the Harlem Express or something like that. And they do kind of the same thing, except they do like small high schools or whatever. But I wanted to work for the Globetrotters, and I just randomly sent them a demo, man. I got through this period where it's like, you know what? I'm going to take my shot, and I'm going to start sending stuff everywhere. I sent to WWE. That was the first time I sent to WWE, and I got a call back, but they wanted me to do Spanish, and I'm not fluent in Spanish. So
that would have been great. They would have broken your table every pay-per-view, bro.
Exactly.
And they've broken the Spanish announcer's table. Yeah. Alex Del Barrio's on the floor.
He would have been hemorrhaging on the floor.
Exactly. And then I sent to the Globetrotters, man, and then like 3 weeks passed, and I got a phone call, and they invited me to training. It didn't offer me a job. They invited me to training camp for like basically an audition. Mm-hmm. But I had to be there for 2 weeks. So I had to quit my job to take that audition.
Okay.
So I flew out to New York, and then after the third day that I was there, when I had already gone through a little bit of the show, they're like, nah, man, we want you. So they signed me to a contract.
Were they paying for your trip up there?
Yeah, they paid for the
hotel
flight and the hotel and,
that's
and
good.
all that stuff. They obviously fed us the whole time. I mean, and I got paid for being there. But they bring in all kinds of people for all different types of roles, for mascots, for people, sound engineers, all types of different things that are part of the production, right?
Yeah.
And not everybody makes it through because they're either a bad apple or, they say the wrong thing or whatever. And, it's still a corporate environment, man. If you don't fit in, if you don't buy into the culture of the Globetrotters, you're gone. So they like to like feel you out a little bit during that training camp.
So when you were with the Globetrotters, you were like talking on the mic in the arena, play-by-play, stuff like that?
Yeah, so it was kind of a hybrid thing, right? Because like, you don't really do play-by-play when you're doing PA for basketball, but they want us to do that. And we're also running the music during the whole time. Because there's like sound effects that go in.
You're the DJ.
You're the DJ
Yeah.
and the announcer, right? So like,
and you announce the games in between the quarters and all that stuff, in
Exactly.
between plays, timeouts.
all the advertisement stuff. And we had an MC that would do some of the on-court
Yeah.
stuff with the mascot or whatever. But
It's just continuous stuff, right?
yeah, and you're doing basically the same show every night, but it's not the same show every night because everything's a little bit different because sometimes the shots aren't falling, so the show just kind of gets altered, or sometimes the crowd's not into this one joke, so the showman, who's the guy, the player that wears the microphone, he'll call an audible, man, and that's why you got to have a good relationship with
Chemistry.
You got to have chemistry, man. So Big Easy was mine. He was one of the guys that was on Amazing Race, one of the Globetrotters on Amazing Race. And, man, we had a blast together for 2 years, traveling the world, 26 countries in 2 years, and 46
That's crazy.
of
Oh
the
my
50 states.
gosh.
Yeah.
26
Wow.
countries.
Yeah, I went to China 4 times. Went to Egypt. I saw, all the things I wanted to see when I was a kid that I never thought I'd ever see. I went to Egypt for a tour. Getting paid to be there, man. It was like I was 30 or 31 when I was doing it. And man, I was like, I wish I was 24 when I probably would have done it for 10 years. I did it for 2 years, but then the last thing I did, we did a military tour where we go to all the bases, and usually every year they'll do it different. Sometimes they'll do the Pacific, sometimes they'll do the Middle East, and then sometimes they do Europe. So I did the European military. So we just went to all the bases in Greece and Spain, in Italy, etc. And we just performed for the troops and their families that all lived
Which
on the
country
bases.
did you like the most out of all the ones besides, the United States, of course, but, China, Saudi Arabia, I mean, Egypt.
Italy was probably my favorite just because, the food and the people and the crowds that we had there were amazing. And I had always wanted to see the Colosseum and the Vatican and all that stuff when I was a kid.
And you had time to go out and look around and stuff?
It depended. Like there were like when we were in Paris, for 13 hours, right? So we basically landed in Paris. We went to the arena, did the show, and then basically slept for 2 hours and got on a 5 a.m. flight to, I think, Switzerland after that. But then there'd be times where like, because you're dealing with overseas promoters when we go over there. And sometimes the tour just wouldn't happen. So like there was supposed to be one in Norway, a 3-day tour of Norway, and the promoter bailed out. So we had these 3 days that were booked for this Norway tour where we were just on our own.
Damn.
And so they decided, because I think we were going to Italy next, and I think it was just easier for us to get to Amsterdam. So we said 3 days off in Amsterdam, which was amazing.
Oh, yeah. That's a party city,
That
bro.
is a party city, bro. Like,
There's no rules over there.
yeah, so it's like one of those things where sometimes you luck out and get a good city and be there for a few days, and sometimes you're in and out.
So you
12,
had a
13 hours.
steady salary for those 2 years or 3 years with them?
What was good about it was it was steady benefits,
Mm-hmm.
but you only got paid when you were on tour. So we were gone from Christmas Day until either mid-April or early May.
Okay.
So about 5 straight months of pay, right? And then you got your salary, and you would get a per diem. If you were overseas, the per diem would go up because obviously shit's more expensive up overseas. And then the hope is that you'd get booked on these international tours during the summer. So, and you're hoping for a 3-week tour of South America and not a one weekend tour of Egypt, right? So even though I got to see Egypt, it was only for 3 days, and then I didn't have anything for the rest of the summer. So you had to try to make do. So
you were living in New York, or where?
No,
were you?
I was living here, man. Because
Okay.
like I basically moved out of my apartment and moved all my stuff back to my parents' house because there was no need for me to have a place because I was gone 7 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Straight.
Yeah. Why
it's
waste
like
that money?
it's like being a roadie or being on tour with
With a band?
You're gone that entire time. So there was no need for me to kind of have any stuff other than just stick it in storage.
Did you quit, or did they let you go?
No,
or?
I quit because I I took that job on a whim. I quit that job to go work for the Globetrotters. I quit the Globetrotters because I eventually wanted to get to WWE, but I also wanted to work in a big market and get back in radio. Because I had missed I did the sports line here in the Valley for about 11 months, and then I was a media layoff, right? And I missed doing sports talk radio, and I wish we had local sports talk radio here. And I moved to Houston basically on a whim. I moved in with my aunt and uncle. I started working at CBS Radio there. I was only promised like 8 hours a week.
Where was this
part-time
again?
At Sports Radio 610 in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. I was only promised about 8 hours a week. I was doing sports updates on Fridays and then covering the Texans when they were in season. And then that grew, and I was doing shows on the weekends, and I was filling in for the main hosts and doing sports updates in the mornings and all that stuff. So I got but but I took that job on a whim, man. Like I'm one of those people that the poof method, man. Proceed only on faith, bro.
Yeah.
And trust your talent, man.
You just follow your talent.
You just follow your talent wherever it takes you. And if you're good enough, man, that you got to test yourself. You're good enough. And it was fun.
And you got to have a certain amount of confidence too. I mean,
man.
you got to say, you know what, I'm going to get it. I mean, to make big steps like that, to go to the Globetrotters and the CBS in Houston and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. It was one of those things. That's always the way I've pushed myself. Is, man, if I want something, I'm going to go after it. I may not get it in the timeline that I want to do it at, but I'm going to make it happen. Like when I signed with WWE, which I know we haven't gotten to that yet, but like that was my dream job. That's what I wanted to do since I was 10 years old. Was stand in the middle of the ring with a microphone like Howard Finkel and say, "Coming down the aisle, weighing 237 pounds." Y2J, Chris Jericho. Like, that's why I did Fists of Fury, man. Like, you remember back in the day when we were both boxing ring announcers and stuff. Like, I did boxing ring announcing because I wanted to do wrestling, bro.
Yeah.
And
so did I, bro.
Yeah.
I just never took the leap. I stayed in this market,
But it's one of those things, man, where, there's always people with talent all over the place, man. And if you want to make something happen, you got to try. You at least got to take your shot. And I know if I took my shot and I missed, like even I was there for 8 months, man. They cleaned all the announcers out all at one time, and the new guy was in charge and wanted females on their live events and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So which I respect. That's their company. They can do whatever they want. And I wanted to be there for 25, 30 years, but that wasn't my decision. But I got there. I'm in the WrestleMania 32 program. They can never take that away from me, bro.
Yeah.
So,
but who stays in WWE for 32 years besides Gurria and Briscoe?
Yeah,
and,
very rare.
Yeah, it's very rare.
I mean, there's not many.
Michael Cole has been there for about 20
and
years.
he lives in West.
He lives in Westlaco.
Right? How the hell does he do that? Well, you lived here and you worked for the Globetrotters. So I freaked out because I ran into Michael Cole. We've got a fly in here or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I ran into Michael Cole at the gym that I was working out at, and I was like, "What the? You're Michael Cole?" He goes, "Yeah. He lives in Westlaco, and apparently he married somebody.
Yeah, married someone from the Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. How the hell does that happen, Chaz?
I don't know. I used to go to that same gym. The gym, it doesn't exist anymore. The gym at Uptown.
But it was only one day a year though.
Mm-hmm.
And
but that one day that I went, he happened to be there. I was like, oh, he happened to be here on the one day that I work out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's weird to see this guy on a national show in McAllen.
Yeah.
And but it's weird how people always end up in the Valley because of marriage.
I honestly and then the guy ends up over here from wherever he's from. He's gonna end up in the Valley, bro.
Remember that
if he meets a girl, right?
Remember that tattoo artist, Rock, that you were saying like, man, this guy's the best tattoo artist. And you said, how did you end up here? I met a girl.
Yeah. Rico Sandoval from La Mancha Tattoo.
Yeah, from San Diego.
Yeah. So Michael Cole. After Jerry the King Lawler and JR Jim Ross left, I was like, who the hell can replace these guys? Right. I mean, they were so damn entertaining together. I mean, just the way they delivered their
chemistry.
The chemistry was great, and they played the perfect part, And after they left, Michael Cole came in, and I was like, man, he's got some big shoes to fill. And he's done really good with it.
Yeah, he's done really well, man. I have nothing but the most respect for Cole. He's the one that hired me. He's also the one that fired me. But I tell you what,
Pinche Michael Cole no le
because he's the boss, man. He's the boss of all the announcers, so he hires all of us, man. And
I know where he lives, carnal. Yeah. You don't mess with homeboys del Valle, carnal.
Yeah, but nah, he's the hardest working dude I've ever met, man.
I can imagine,
and especially because he'll start his week. He'll fly on a Monday morning to get to Raw wherever it is. He'll do Raw. And then drive to SmackDown. SmackDown's usually 2 or 3 hours away. This is when it was on Tuesdays, right? They would tape it on Tuesdays, and he would drive to the next town. And then on Wednesdays, he'd go down to Orlando and work with us down in NXT and in the Performance Center. And then I think he'd fly home on Thursday afternoon after he was doing voiceover. He had to fix what they call wild lines, is when they on the tape shows, they go and fix all the things that Vince once changed.
The edits and all that.
They go
shit.
and edit all that stuff, and then he flies home, and he's home Friday, Saturday. But if there's a pay-per-view, he's got to fly to the pay-per-view on Sunday.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, that dude's got more miles than just about anybody I know.
Yeah. If we need any free tickets on the plane, man, that's a guy to talk to. Frequent flyer miles. Cállate la boca, shut up.
He's your esquina.
Yeah,
bro.
So after CBS in Houston, you got a job at the WWE then.
Yeah. So I started working for Booker T's He's got a promotion up in Houston. And I was doing some stuff, and then my buddy Rich, who used to be the voice of the Killer Bees down here, he was the hockey announcer here. He started working for Booker also. Because I had to leave to go work for the Globetrotter. So I would come in, and then I had to leave for 5 months, so they had to get another announcer. Well, Rich comes in and kills it. He gets signed, and he goes to NXT, does NXT for a year. Then he did SmackDown for a year. So I go down to visit him at one of his shows down in Orlando, and I meet the promoters and the producers who do all the live events, all the what they call house shows, all the local live events that aren't on TV. And I meet them. I have a good relationship. I tell them about my Globetrotter experience. And this was on a whim. It wasn't like my intent to do that. But, you take advantage of every opportunity you get. And then, 5, 6, 7 months happen. I'm like interacting. And then finally, I get a phone call from Rich. He's like, hey, because they're coming to Houston in a couple of weeks. And I'm living in Houston. Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, Cole's going to call you in the next couple of days. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? Really? Yeah. He's like, yeah, he's impressed with your stuff or whatever. And he thinks you'd be a good fit, whatever. So he's going to basically probably invite you to come to SmackDown and basically interview. And so I did that. And then 2 weeks later, I was in Orlando. I did an interview and an audition down in Orlando. And then I didn't hear anything for like 4 months, bro.
What was your audition? What did it consist of?
So they basically had the two announcers that were currently on live events. One's name was Greg Hamilton. The other was Dasha Fuentes, who's now she works for AEW now, and Greg's no longer doing WWE, but he was there for 5 or 6, 7 years. They basically would go through what you do a live event, man. So that you would do all the promotions. They give you a program and say, sell this program to the fans or whatever. So basically we go through ring introductions, and the other thing is you're not allowed to have note cards, right, in the ring. You got to memorize the weights, hometowns, the rules of the match or whatever. So if you're going in, so they basically try to challenge you, say, hey, this is the card. These are the 3 matches you need to announce for.
You're doing color or play-by-play?
No, in the ring announcing. Ring announcing.
He's doing the Finkel. But for NXT.
Yeah, for NXT. So, and the idea is you do NXT for 5, 6, 7 months, and at the time they were doing tours of NXT. Like they'd go and do like these weekend loops in Houston, San Antonio, Dallas, for instance, whatever. But anyways, we'd go through essentially 3 or 4 matches, and they say, all right, these are your 4 matches. You've got 20 minutes or whatever. Memorize everybody's names and hometowns. And these are all guys, and these are all people that aren't on TV. So they're like guys who are in Florida that haven't made their debuts yet.
Dark matches.
So yeah, exactly. So smart Mark over here.
Dude, you don't know what Rock and I know. We have so much useless information.
Excuse me, they're called dark matches, Rock and Roll James.
Please use the proper terminology. You are incorrect.
That's wrestling lingo, folks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
dark matches. A dark match, ladies and gentlemen, is a match that comes on before the cameras turn on, right?
Non-televised.
And it's for people or the main guys to assess the talent in
essentially, yeah.
Right.
It's basically a tryout match for a lot of guys.
And the cameras and all that.
Or they're trying to, because the cameras are technically on, they're just not live on TV, right? So they'll record those matches, and it's usually for them to watch back because it's a guy that they're trying to bring up, or they're trying out a new character, and they're trying it out in front of the live crowd for the first time. So it's a lot harder now with social media because there's everybody with a crowd that, so there's no secrets like there used to be in wrestling. But that's essentially what it is. It's a tryout to try out new gimmicks, try out new performers, either guys that are with the company or guys that they want to bring into the company. They'll put them in a dark match.
So quick story about Papa Shango. Rock and I met Papa Shango.
the Godfather.
On Saturday, yeah.
We met him. So he told the story that he went out as Papa Shango and he did the match and he did his moves. And then he went backstage and that Vince McMahon said, "What the hell was that?" Because he was doing the moves, but he wasn't like creepy. And he wasn't like, doing dramatic moves as if he does voodoo. So he had to go back out.
He wasn't selling it.
He wasn't selling that he knows voodoo.
Yeah.
He did the moves, so he had to go back out and do the same match again in front of the same crowd to sell the voodoo component.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, did you ever get to meet Vince?
So I
or
did meet
you-
Vince. I met Hunter a bunch of times because NXT was his baby. So he was like the head writer essentially of NXT. So I saw Hunter all the time. We worked out, and he would be on the treadmill when I'd be on the what do you call it, the
rowing.
rowing machine. Yeah. I couldn't remember what it was called. Hunter was great. He was the nicest guy, very, very cool with me the entire time I was there. Met Stephanie a couple times. She didn't come down as often. My only experience with Vince, and I never met him in person. So the Royal Rumble was in Orlando the year I was there. And there's a locker room, where it's called the TV locker room, where basically it's right before you go to Gorilla, which Gorilla, for the people who don't know wrestling, that's right before the curtain where the guy is about to walk out. That's the Gorilla position.
Oh, wow.
Well, there's headsets there. And
I don't think even Chaz knew that.
Yeah.
Did you know that, Chaz?
Yeah, it's named after Gorilla Monsoon, the gorilla position.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a separate locker room with a bunch of headsets, right? And Mauro Ranallo, who everybody knows from like Showtime Boxing and all that stuff, he had just been signed with the company to take over SmackDown. Well, he was still kind of training and learning, how to deal with, Vince in his ear and just learning how announcers are produced there, which is very different. So he was back there. He had a headset on, and I had a headset on. And this was the year that AJ Styles came to WWE. It was he made his debut in the Rumble. I think it was the third entrant in the Rumble. And so AJ Styles comes out. The place is going bonkers because no one ever thought AJ Styles would show up at WWE. They're chanting his name. And Michael Cole and JBL, I think, was the other announcer. They were basically putting him over. Like, oh, he's the biggest free agent in all of wrestling, whatever. So Vince goes in their headset, and we could hear that same conversation of Vince talking to the announcers. And he's like, you guys are putting over this guy like he's fucking King Kong. Nobody's ever heard of AJ Styles. They're chanting his name in the building, right?
Yeah.
Like chanting his name as he's face to face with Roman Reigns, and he's like, "You're acting like this fucking King Kong," and I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
That's just like one lone Vince experience. And Mick Foley, every time we go to one of his live shows, he always tells you a Vince story from when he was at SmackDown announcer for like 2 months.
So you, with WWE, your job description was just ring announcer.
I was just a ring announcer, live event host is what they technically dub it as now, right?
Your brother was there too, wasn't he? Or didn't you have a brother or something like that? I thought I had seen that.
I have my friend Rich was there. Everybody says that we kind of look alike there.
Okay.
But he was on commentary. I was eventually going to go into commentary because they basically wanted a hybrid person that could kind of do a little of everything. Like on NXT TV, I was doing the backstage interviews and stuff like that. So on TV days, and we would tape 4 episodes at once, I would just go to the interview area and they'd give me all the run sheets for the 4 episodes we were taping, and I'd look to see what our interviews were and what talent I was working with, and I basically sit there for 3 hours and just do different interviews with different people, and then go out and watch the rest of the show as they were doing it.
Was it nerve-wracking working with WWE? Was it was it always like, I mean, because we did a pay-per-view, my wife and I, we did a Combate America. So I was a hype man.
Yeah.
So we went and we sat at the the night before. They have a roundtable discussion of what's going to go and how it's going to happen and this and that. And it was like crazy, dude. I mean, by the end of the whole meeting, they go, so that's the gist of it, but, it'll probably be different when we do it tomorrow. And I'm like, because you have to be. And then I had the guy in my ear telling me, all right, we're going to go to this. Okay, no, never mind. We're going to go to this instead. You know what? Scrap that, do that, and do this. So it's constantly changing. As a ring announcer, did you have an earpiece?
I did, yeah, I did. And to be honest with you, you have an earpiece for the live events, the non-televised shows, but they don't, for some reason, they don't give the announcer an IFB. IFB is what you guys call the earpiece for the folks that don't know.
Are you I'm taking notes, man.
Yeah. They don't give them for the TV announcers. Their cue is the bell. So when they ring the bell, that's when they start announcing or whatever. But yeah, I had an earpiece, and there was actually one time, I was one of my first weeks, my first Florida loops that I did, because I would do all the local NXT shows in Florida. And there was one time where I was telling you that no matter how many matches there are, how many people are involved in the match, you can't have any cards or anything. And it was a fatal 4-way match in the main event, and I couldn't remember Baron Corbin's name. I couldn't remember Baron Corbin's name. So, and usually you have to face, the camera. Even though it's a non-televised, there's a camera that we shoot, and they want us to face that way. They want us to act like we're on TV, right?
The hard camera.
The hard camera. There you go.
Watch out.
El Chad.
So I had to do one of these where I looked back, because once I saw his face, I remembered his name, right? And I was like, oh, fuck, they're gonna fire me.
Pinche
man.
brain fart bruto, carnal.
Yeah, bad. Because I had gotten the whole show, man. I was getting all kinds of praise or whatever, and like I felt so bad.
You know what happened? Alguien te hizo ojo, carnal.
Yeah.
Lo que pasó, te hicieron ojo,
And
carnal.
it was probably Dave Brown.
Sí, te hicieron ojo,
It was
carnal.
probably Tom Phillips who was the
If my mother-in-law would have been there, she would have cured you right away, right ringside there, carnal,
with
con
an
un pinche
yeah.
huevo, vato,
Yeah.
carnal,
Del
bruto.
rancho.
Del rancho, papá,
So,
asústame.
that was the one like big mistake. And then my coach, because they can talk to me in my ear, the coach in the back that's the producer for the show, he's like, don't worry about it. You're fine. He said, whatever. Because he knew I fucked up. Like he knew I couldn't remember.
So you didn't say Baron Corbin's
No, I
name
did.
at
So
all?
I looked over. I saw his face. It's like, but there was a long pause because
yeah.
it was like Sin City weighing 294 pounds. Gulp. Like that long, and it felt long, and it felt longer than that. And I looked back, Baron Corbin, and so it was a really long time, and you could see it in my face. Like I probably went ghost white, thinking, man, this is
I could imagine,
blown my
dude.
shot,
That happens to me when I have to sing the
know.
national anthem. I always get like,
So I wanted to tell you this story, bro, because I remember you would do the national anthem and then you'd ring announce the show. So we do with these things called PC live events. It's the Performance Center. Basically, all the guys that are not on NXT TV that are just recently signed, who are still learning how to. We do basically a live event and we do it inside the Performance Center. It's only for the talent.
and the Performance Center was where they did all their matches during COVID, I think,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So they called it the Thunderdome, I think, at the time.
Yeah,
But they did all.
They had the video screens of all the fans and stuff.
Yeah. So the first they call it PC live event, and I'm going to do it before I ever go on the road, and I was going to go on the road that weekend, and we did it on a Wednesday, and our first show was a Thursday. They said, you're going to do this show, the PC live, you're going to do all the matches. By the way, you're going to sing the national anthem.
Oh!
And I'm like, you're joking, right? Like, no, man, everybody does it. Everybody's first time here, the PC, doing a PC live, you got to sing the national anthem. And I think they were it's always a test. Like that's the thing about that place. Everything's a test.
It's not a rib or what?
No, yeah. It was a rib, but the
Yeah.
thing is like they wanted to see if I would sell it, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. I don't mind. Everybody's got to, if someone has to get their head shaved in the ring, or
Yeah. This guy said if
wear a silly costume, like.
if Roseanne Barr can do it, hell, what I mean, right?
Carl Lewis, man, I'll go in there. So I went in there, man. I was like, think like RocknRollJames, man. Like,
Hey.
so yeah, all I could think about that was RocknRollJames.
You brought your RocknRollJames inner
Yes.
spirit out.
Yeah. Although I couldn't hit that last note like you do at the very end,
Oh,
bro.
yeah,
Because you hold that shit for a long time.
That 5-minute note, right? And then you hear the swallow. When I hold on to that note, you feel the swallow, the audience. Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I when I was coming here, I was like, I need to tell Rock that story that they made me do that. And there's like, dude, we didn't think you'd actually do it, but that was awesome.
Is there video of that anywhere?
No,
bro?
man. I at first I didn't wish there was. I was like, I hope nobody ever sees that. But now I kind of wish that it exists.
Yeah.
I do have like video of me ring announcing and stuff. I have a little demo of all my Florida
Archives.
live events and stuff. So like it's so funny. Like Shinsuke Nakamura is like a big star, right?
Yeah.
Samoa Joe is a big star, and we hadn't had him touch yet on TV, right? But I did a live event in Orlando in front of like 85 people. NXT live event in front of 85. Shinsuke Nakamura versus Samoa Joe in the main event.
Good match.
And I'm just like, I just announced fucking Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa. I'm telling our referee, I was like, this match needs to be like in the main event of a pay-per-view, and we're doing it in fucking Orlando's Armory right now in front of 85 people. So it's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean, why do you think there was only 85 people there?
Because I mean, it's just a small little.
That's
Think about it like a bingo hall or something like that. We didn't sell very many tickets to those things. I mean, our attendance was always usually sold out, but sometimes it was like very few people.
Yeah, man.
Did you actually have heat with anybody else in your position that was vying?
Yeah.
Was his initials TP?
Yes, it was initials TP and GH too. Both those guys didn't want me there. So
who's that?
Well, you want to share that?
So TP is Tom Phillips. He was Tom.
Is it Todd, right?
Tom Phillips.
Tom Phillips. Okay.
Tom Phillips. So he was the voice of SmackDown for a little while, and then he got demoted. He got sent back to move to Florida, and he started doing all these NXT. Basically, I think the story Cole gave me at the time is like, Vince is kind of sick of him right now, but we don't want to let him go because he's young and he's talented, and he is. He's the voice of Impact Wrestling right now, and he kind of saw it as a big demotion because he had already gotten called up. He had been on the road. You know, once you're on the road with WWE and you're traveling all the big cities and stuff and making that money, you don't want to go back to live in Florida and doing these little tiny shows in Florida, right? So. And I'm just enjoying my experience there, man. I'm just trying to learn and soak up as much information. I'd ride to the towns with our coaches. So like Terry Taylor and Norman Smiley, I'd ride in the truck with them, like, and they're talking about the show coming up or whatever. My buddy Adam Pierce, who's wrestled down here a bunch of times, he was a coach down there at the time. I'd ride with him to shows, and I just wanted to soak up and learn. And man, every time anything was even remotely close to being like controversial, he would like stooge on me to Cole about something, said I wasn't doing this, and he wanted me to do his work for him and all this stuff. So there was a lot of stuff that Tom and I did not agree with on. And it was just kind of like you always had to kind of look over your shoulder, and you didn't know who to trust. And that's the hard thing, is learning how to navigate the politics of that
professional
place.
Envy, all that stuff.
Yeah, all that stuff, dude. And if they think that you're a threat, they try to knock you down before you are a threat, you know?
Who was the other one?
The other one was Greg Hamilton. So Greg was he was the ring announcer for for NXT at the time, and then when I got there, he got called up to do SmackDown, and basically Dasha was now put on NXT TV, and I was kind of like the live event person. So it was kind of like a structure. It's like eventually you move up when the next person moves on or something like that. So, but again, I was only there to do live events until they were ready to put me on commentary, and then that just kind of never happened. I wasn't there long enough for to get to that point.
What happened between you and Michael Cole that he fired you, or what was you forgot Corbin's name again?
No, because it was way later, and it got to basically the way, because Rich and I both got released around the same time, and another buddy of ours, Ardo Cal, who works for ESPN now, all got fired within 3 weeks of each other. Mm-hmm. Like Ardo got fired first, and he was mostly doing like, those shows that were like that are on WWE Mexico or WWE France or whatever, where it's just the host talking in front of a screen, and then he throws it to one of the matches from Raw SmackDown. He was doing that stuff. He did a lot of the international shows. But he wasn't one of Cole's hires. He was one of TV Productions' hires. So Cole didn't like him, and Cole didn't want to hire him. So finally he got a chance to let him go, so he let him go. And then Rich got fired a couple weeks after him, and then I got fired a couple weeks after Rich. And the reason I knew I was going to get released is because the NXT tapings that I did before I got released, I wasn't on any of the backstage interviews. So I said, all right,
something's going on.
Something's going on here.
Yeah.
And, I tried to make my case or whatever, but what it kind of all stemmed from, there was a situation at WrestleMania. It was in Dallas that year. And, they always want us to like pump up like the events that are happening. And so Dasha, myself, and Greg were going to do all the NXT matches that were going to be at Access, which is the fan festival, right? That happens at the convention center. So we get there the day before, and I'm like, I take a selfie, and I'm like, fans can't wait for you guys to come to Access tomorrow. We're going to have some awesome NXT matches. And I did it while I was like in the production area
on your personal
on my phone on my WWE Twitter account, right?
Okay.
And I get a phone call from and the reason I knew it was Tom that stooged on me is because Cole didn't follow me on Twitter. Like, he didn't follow my account. Cole doesn't follow hardly anybody on Twitter, and he doesn't even use it. So Tom called me. He's like, "Hey, Cole saw your tweet of you in front of the NXT set. We haven't even unveiled that yet, and Cole wants you to take it down, and he wants you to not tweet for the remainder of." And then they took me off. And then they took me off of all the ring announcing I was supposed to do that weekend. I'm like, because I took a picture of the same set that we use for WWE live events, because it wasn't any different. It wasn't like I went to the stadium and showed the WrestleMania set. Yeah. I showed the set that we're using, all the time. There was nothing different about it. But he found a way to kind of word it that way to Cole, because I know Cole's so busy, he doesn't give a shit about any of that stuff during that weekend. But again, it was a bunch of little things piling up, and then finally, when you do something wrong at WrestleMania, and then he also told him, Cole's also pissed because you got on the plane scruffy. I'm like, I got on a plane wearing a suit. Dasha got on with like booty shorts, and you didn't say anything to her. Like
they even cry about that shit.
Yeah, dude, all kinds.
Are you kidding me?
But again, they find little things, find the right mood to tell the boss to stooge on you, so that they look good. It's like, I don't want to tell, Cole, I don't want to tell you this, but
Brown knows
you should know. Exactly, man. And that's how it works at some of those places sometimes. So,
I would imagine.
Yeah. So it's like who to trust and who to play against who. And I'm not about any of that, man. Like I said, that was my dream job. I wanted to be there. I wasn't trying to get anybody else fired, and I wasn't trying to do anything except my own thing. And
dude, you did it. You went. You got it. You got in. I mean, you know how hard it is for anybody to get into that?
I 100%. And that's why I tell people now, like, I'm not upset or sad that I'm not there anymore. Honestly, I don't know how long I could have handled that. I travel now with CBS doing college basketball and college football, and even that's a grind and a struggle for me. But to do it 52 weeks a year, I don't know how long I could have done it. Realistically, but just having that experience and having Howard tell me I was good, and before he passed, it was all the kudos I needed from being there.
Did Michael Cole call you into the office and fire you in person, or was it a call, an email?
Yeah,
what was it?
We were at the Performance Center. It was like 2 days before we were having the next set of NXT tapings, and basically the GM of the building is like, "Hey, Cole wants to talk to you." I was like, I know what's coming. So I actually brought my computer and everything because I knew it was about to happen.
Yeah.
And then there's a back office there at the Performance Center, and I guess that's where he always fires people, I guess. But so he went in there. He's like, "Hey, we're just gonna let you know we're releasing you real quick. It's like we're releasing you from your contract."
Yeah,
I was pretty dejected. I was like, "Cole, I just want to know, is there anything I could have done different to stay there?" And what he told me, and he told me a reason I was getting released was budget cuts. But then he said, after I asked him that question, he's like, "There's some people that fit in here, and there's some people that don't. And sometimes it's about timing, and sometimes it's about other things. But we wish you the best. We know that you're talented and all that stuff. But
when you were there, was it like just a carousel of just people coming in and out?
Yeah, it was kind of like that, and they would bring in new people all the time. Like the girl they came in and essentially replaced me for a little while. She was doing like in arena reporting for the Florida Panthers, and she had a connection with the office somehow, because I think one of our live producers used to work at that arena or whatever. But she didn't know anything about wrestling, right? And they kind of wanted more people like that who didn't know anything, and they could teach them basically from scratch, like what it's about, because then everything's brand new to them, and they don't have a preconceived notion of what something is, right? Or you're not impersonating somebody else, or
right? Because sometimes I've heard, like, if you say the word strap, right, for a championship belt, they don't like that.
Yeah, Vince,
you're coming in with
Vince doesn't like the word belt. Yeah, Vince doesn't like the word belt. You're supposed to say championship or championship title
or or wrestler,
right?
Pro
Superstar.
wrestling, or
yeah.
I'd get fired in 2 days over there, bro.
100%.
Yeah, bro.
My wife,
especially when you start off with ASUSTAME at one time here.
No, you know what? I'd get fired, but then I'd kick ass on that national anthem, bro.
Let's keep him around.
Hey, Rock, never mind. Come on back. Come on back.
Here's what Rock would do. He would do the national anthem, and then he would get a blade and start juicing himself. Oh, my God. He's busted open.
For the land of the free.
Holding the flag. Oh my God, the most dramatic national anthem
Big time,
ever,
bro. Hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Do you still keep in contact with Michael since he's right there in Westlaco?
I've sent him a couple texts here and there, but it's one of those like when you're separated from that company, you know.
What do
I
you
was
send
kinda
him?
done.
What text? Like happy birthday or what?
No, I sent him a couple like new demos, and I told him when I worked because he used to work for CBS Radio in New York. He was like a war correspondent before he ever went to WWE.
Whoa.
I never knew that.
Yeah, he was a legitimate journalist. So when I started working at CBS, I sent him, hey man, like I'm working at your old company, man, again or whatever. He's like, oh dude, congratulations, happy for you, whatever. And then I every now and then I'll see something and like, hey Cole, just thanks for giving me the opportunity. Years ago, it's like, dude. Sorry it didn't work out, but we're glad that you're doing well, blah, blah, blah. So this is kind of little things, just trying to, you want to extend the olive branch every now and then, because you never know, Rock. Like, you never know.
Would you go back? I mean, would you quit Channel 5 and head on to WWE? Michael called you tomorrow and said, hey, dude.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. That's the right answer.
Yeah, 100%.
And do you need a couple of guys to carry your luggage or anything
man,
like
let's
that, bro?
do it.
I mean,
I could do your makeup.
Feature. Okay, yeah, Michael, I can go back, but I got a crew now.
I got a crew.
I got
man.
an entourage.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank Top Floor Cars for being a sponsor here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank them. They're at 301 South Market Street in Brenham, Texas. If you're looking for a specific vehicle or want to buy or sell or trade, contact Tony or Carlos at 979-337-1006. We've got a video of some amazing vehicles. They've got an El Camino, man. That's just amazing. This is an old school one. This is like a 1948, something like that. And then they've got that Nova there, bro, and the Charger. They've got the Impala. Look at the El Camino.
Yeah.
That's an 83 El Camino, and you should see the inside of that vehicle. So, ladies and gentlemen, their classic cars and trucks have sold worldwide from Germany to Australia and all over the United States of America. And you can follow them on Facebook at Top Floor Cars, Instagram at Top Floor Cars Brenham, YouTube at Top Floor Cars, and the website is topfloorcars.com. You can check out all their inventory. Look at that Roadster, that convertible Mustang. I mean, they've got so many beautiful vehicles, and if you have a vehicle that you want to sell, they work with consignments as well. You can put it on their lot and just give them a little percentage of what the sale is for. You know what I mean? But talk to them. You got to give them a call. And go check them out in Brenham, Texas, whenever you're in that area. Also want to thank Joe's Master Service Center. Hey, man, Brotherhood. He's got Brotherhood TV. Check this out.
I'm Joe from Joe's Master in Edinburgh. Most drivers don't realize that wheel alignments play an important part in the life of their new and used vehicles. At Joe's Master, we offer a lifetime alignment for as long as you own your vehicle. Simply pay a one-time fee and return every 6 months or 6,000 miles for your free alignment, and we'll make sure your car, truck, or SUV is serviced right. We're conveniently located 3 blocks north of the courthouse in Edinburgh. Call or text 956-383-1882 or visit my website, joesmaster.com.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to the chat zone. I didn't even introduce Riley, my wife. She's our producer.
Hey, what's up? Shout out to everyone that's been hanging out with us on the chat zone tonight. Thank you guys.
Put on the camera on you, baby, so
No,
you can
it's
say
okay.
hi to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
Come on, man. Let's get those ratings up.
I paid millions of dollars for these cameras. Come on.
Yeah.
What's up, guys?
And she's got the Whiskey D t-shirt. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be performing June 23rd with an AC/DC tribute band, Thunderstruck, at the Landmark in Alamo, Texas, the Landmark on Tower. There's a poster. You want to get some tickets? You need to get them now because it's going to get packed. When we play by ourselves, it gets packed, and it's an outdoor venue. And they've got food trucks. They've got pizza that they have that oven, that brick oven, and then they've got like 100 different taps of beer. I mean, it is a fantastic place, and they've got some really great seating. So you need to go to rockatthelandmark.eventbrite.com, get the tickets, and we'll see you June 23rd, man. And we're not playing too many shows this year. The next show after June 23rd is probably September in Bandera. We're going to headline a Bandera motorcycle rally up there. So we've got Chaz. He's got the chat zone, man. Let's see if anybody wants to send some shout-outs or has a question for Alex about the WWE or CBS or any type.
First of all, next week, I look forward to the show because Rock and myself, we went to South Texas WrestleFest, and man, it was a great event. Sabu was there, The Godfather was there, Lince Dorado, And so we were there this past weekend, and we got some awesome footage. And it's going to be a great show next Wednesday. So
we're putting it together.
We're putting it together. Stand by for that. And, man, it was a lot of fun. And
The Godfather got pissed off with this guy, bro.
Yeah, he did. So so look for that.
Yeah, because he was dressed in his derby and shit. And then, Chaz sits down with him and says, you've been Papa Shango, you've been this. I mean, you've got the costume. And he goes, costume? What are you talking about, a costume, man? So
and I thought, this is going south real fast.
No, abort.
Yeah.
So then Chaz got up and grabbed the folded chair and just hit it right over his head, bro.
And he was busted open.
Yeah,
he got out of there.
Yeah.
So, Alex, I want to give a shout out to a lot of people so you can hear all the towns. Shout out to Sal in the House, of course, from El Paso.
Hey.
And Fernando Ambriz from Houston, Juan Rodriguez from Eagle Pass, Jesse Ramirez from Fort Worth, George Ochoa from McGregor, Texas, Imperial Eddie from San Diego, Noe Garza from right here at McAllen, Sergio Gonzalez from Big Springs, Texas, and David Ramirez from Las Vegas, Nevada. And I got a question for you from our ever so faithful Sal in the House. He wants to know, how many WWE action figures do you have? Which is your favorite? Which is the most valuable? So let's go down that list.
All right. Well, action figure count, I couldn't tell you, man.
Is it more than 300?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Damn.
Oh
Just my
my.
Hasbro collection, which is the hard plastic ones from my childhood. That whole set is about 99 figures total. I think I have 90 of the 99, right? And then I have all the current Ultimate Edition figures, and I think there are about 50 of those. And then I've just got a ton more that are just in boxes and crates and stuff. So it's probably around 300 is a little high. So let's probably about 250.
Okay,
right there. Which is my favorite. I have this 2-pack that was the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive last year. It's Hulk Hogan as Rip from the movie No Holds Barred.
Oh, nice.
And Zeus. So it's a 2-pack with them kind of together.
Tiny Lister.
Tiny Lister. Yeah. The most valuable one I have, I do have a signed Bret the Hitman Hart Hasbro figure. On card, mint on card, signed by Bret Hart. It's probably about a $700 figure.
Nice.
When you consider the autograph and the how good the carding is and all that stuff. Yeah.
And who is your favorite? I know it's hard to pick a favorite wrestler. It really, but who would you say, man, if I had to pick one?
Taker.
Undertaker.
Yeah. Taker was my guy for the most part. Yeah. I actually had a hat made that before I ever signed with WWE. We went to WrestleMania 30, my buddies and I. I had a hat made just like his hat, and had him sign it because I bought a ticket to his little autograph signing deal. So that's kind of one of my other prized possessions is an Undertaker hat signed by the Undertaker.
When you first got to the WWE, were you like a fanboy, bro? I mean, because I think if I'd be there, I'd be like, hey, where's this guy and where's that guy? I'd be like,
man, because when you know all that stuff kind of going in that they hate that stuff, so you try to kind of keep some of that stuff in. I think I got the most excited meeting legends when they would come around for when we would go to Access or they'd come or whatever, then the current talent, like
Ron Simmons and all these guys that are working in the back now, right?
I will say that John Cena came to the Performance Center one time. That was the coolest interaction was meeting John Cena.
Yeah.
And he was in and out. He was in a suit. He was basically just came to give advice to the talent, and then he booked it out of there. But that was probably the most starstruck, I guess, in that whole experience that I was in.
John Cena, movie star now.
Cena.
All right, and he put over Austin. What's the name of the guy from the new guy?
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory.
Austin Theory. Yeah, he put him over.
That's part of the tradition. Yeah.
Has he been coming out? I haven't even seen him.
Yeah,
on
he still
Monday
comes
Night
out.
Raw.
He
yeah.
still comes out.
All
Yeah,
right.
he's been doing a thing with Seth Rollins, I think.
All right. Well, Saturday is the Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. It's going to be the pay-per-views at noon here locally because it's at 10.
Nighttime over there.
Yeah, it's nighttime over there. The All Access or the, what do they call that? The All Access, right? Or something like the pre-show?
Oh, the pre-show, yeah.
That's going to be at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And then at 12 noon is the pay-per-view. And Brock Lesnar and what do you think of Brock Lesnar, bro? And And Cody Rhodes. You think what are they doing with Cody Rhodes? I'm not a really big fan of Cody Rhodes.
Oh, see, I if I was a fan now, if I was a kid now, Cody would be my guy, like 100%.
He has an it factor. You got, he's got chemistry. So
but I was always into the true good. I was a Hulk Hogan, Bret Hart type of. When I was a kid, those were the guys I rooted for, like the true like babyface good guys. And to me, that's how Cody kind of presents himself. Like even when he gives the belt to the kid, that reminds me of Bret Hart. You know, when Bret used to give the sunglasses to the kid. I actually like what they're doing. I thought Roman should have won at WrestleMania. I know a lot of people didn't like that decision.
I was good with that.
I was very happy with it, and I think if you let the story play out, and people want instant satisfaction, man. Like you have to understand, he's Dusty Rhodes' kid. Like Dusty Rhodes won the world title like 3 times, but he only held it for like 30 days every time he had it because people wanted to see him chase. Like people wanted to see him like get the crap beat out of him and then him overcome all those obstacles and finally get it back.
Yeah.
Like you have to understand, he's Dusty Rhodes' kid. Like he's going to want to be stopped.
And that was Dusty Rhodes with the 4 Horsemen.
Yeah,
I mean, he never got that belt, and he was always chasing it.
Yeah, he was always chasing because the other guys would cheat, and Roman cheated at WrestleMania. Like, if you truly look at the story, like you'll understand it's gonna happen, but it's gonna happen when you don't think it's gonna happen. You know,
on their terms.
But when I say, I was telling my wife when I see Roman Reigns and the Usos and all that, when they say bloodline, that's freaking for real,
yeah,
dude.
it's for real, dude.
I mean, those Samoans have been there since the 60s, with High Priest Peter or High Chief Maivia.
Peter Maivia,
yeah. And then you've got Rikishi, you've got Tonga Kid, you got all these.
Yokozuna.
Afa and Sika.
And they've always been on top, dude, because it's their blood, that DNA, man. All right, so you probably got to get back to work.
Yeah,
right?
I got to get back to Westico.
We're going to do this real quick then,
go
right?
ahead, yeah.
We're going to do the sports trivia. My wife said if you miss 3, you get a 70, all right? So
I got the first one right.
Yes.
So
so the first one's right. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Number 2, who holds the record for the most home runs in a single Major League Baseball season? Is it A, Barry Bonds, B, Mark McGwire?
Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds, all right. You are correct, bro. All right. What country hosted the 2014 FIFA World Cup? A, Saudi Arabia, B, Japan, C, Brazil, or D, Mexico?
That was Brazil.
Brazil? You are correct.
Oh my gosh. I told you he's not going to miss a single one. He's not going to miss a single
Who is the all-time leading scorer in the history of the NFL? A, Adam Vinatieri, B, Morton Anderson, C, Gary Anderson, or D, Jason Hansen?
It is now Adam Vinatieri. For a long time, it was Gary Anderson.
Yeah, man. You're right. Yeah. So far, you got an A. Who won the most gold medals in the 2008 Beijing Olympics? Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, LaShawn Merritt, or Shelly Ann Fraser?
I am almost certain. This is one I'm not quite as sure. I would use a lifeline, but it is Michael Phelps, I believe.
You are correct, man. 8.
Just because those swimmers have like 30 events they can win a medal in. Yeah.
Who is the fastest man in recorded history? A, Bobby Hayes, B, Usain Bolt, C, Fred Curley, or D, Kelvin Kiptum?
I'm going to say it's Usain Bolt.
I was going to say Umaga.
Umaga? Yeah.
How many Grand Slam singles titles has Serena Williams won in her career? 20, 21, 22, or 23?
22. No.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I didn't know that one.
So he's missed one.
I'm not a tennis
Keep score. In what sport would you use a shuttlecock? A, cycle ball,
Yikes.
B, badminton, C, bathtubing, or D, greasy pole climbing?
It's badminton.
Okay, it's badminton, man. That's what it is.
Bathtubby?
I mean, it could.
What?
What the hell is a shuttlecock? Is that the little thing that you hit?
Yeah, it's like the little ball with the feathers on it.
Yeah. I never fucking knew that, bro. You learn something on PVT every night.
Yeah. If you take Dr. T, you'll have your own shuttle.
Yeah. Your cock will be like a shuttle.
NASA.
Number 9. What is the name of the trophy awarded to the winner of the World Series in baseball? The Great Poobah Trophy, the President's Trophy, the Commissioner's Trophy, or the Field of Dreams Trophy?
It's the Commissioner's Trophy.
You're correct, bro. Damn. All right, last but not least, what year did the Dallas Cowboys win their first Super Bowl? 1970, 1971, 1972, or 1973?
When is it the year they won the Super Bowl
Yeah.
or the season? Because the Super Bowl is always in the next year.
Just what year did the Dallas Cowboys win the first Super Bowl?
I don't remember. I think it's 71, though.
71? Oh, man, it's 72, bro. It's 72.
So 71 season, 72 Super Bowl.
So he missed two.
He got an 80.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was they beat the Dolphins 24-3.
the Super Bowl.
Larry Zonka.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for joining us. We want to thank the Green Hit. Offers a natural alternative for stress and pain with various CBD-infused oils, lotions, edibles, gummies, and even inhalants to combat, recuperate the body and mind. They've got amazing name brand bongs. Go by and visit them at FAR 956-666-9088, and that's on U.S. Highway 83. Conway Suite and Mission. That's they sell liquor and beer and smoke stuff that you need there, and gummies and all that good stuff. 956-591-0114. Follow them on Instagram, all right? And also want to thank Chorizo de HH. You know, watching sports, you got to turn the pit on. You put that pit on, you put some sausage, some fajitas, and some chorizo like that. Like, you know, has that ever been the backyard of your apartment there, man? Shh, look at that.
Nice.
Un choriqueso, te vientas unas tortitas, un sausage, unas fajitas, y nombre, cállate shit up, quedas a toda madre. Chorizo de HH, available in select HEBs at Junior Supermarket. And if it's not at your HEB or Junior Supermarket or Walmart or wherever you go shop, you make sure to tell the people there, the management, that they need to start getting some Chorizo de HH. Thank you to La Familia Hinojosa. Also, last but not least, want to thank Rody's Country Fried Chicken.
Oh, yeah.
All right, old-fashioned country cooking since 1985, 36 years of serving Eagle Pass with delicious fried chicken with all the sides. Everything is good. You go by Rody's Plate, and look at that. The school went by, and they had a blast there, and it's right by the Kickapoo Casino. So, ladies and gentlemen, whenever you go to the Kickapoo Casino, stop with the bus there by Rody's Playland, pick up a box of pollo, y vámonos, res, unos gizzards, unos hot sauce. Vende aquellas, quedas a toda madre. We want to thank you for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week. We're going to have a show of all the WrestleFest that we did this past weekend, and we want you to have a great Memorial weekend. And don't forget Memorial Day to remember those that gave their lives for our country, okay? That's what it's all about. So thank you so much for joining us. God bless you all. And Alex Del Barrio, thank you for coming by, man.
Yeah,
we
brother.
appreciate your
Anytime,
time.
man. Anytime.
Thank you. You're my hero.
Yeah, no, dude, I really appreciate it. I was excited. You know, I get excited when guests come in, but I was really excited about you today, man, because I really wanted to talk about you.
Well, I've been pumping your tires a lot, but I'm going to keep doing it, man. You really are a media icon here, man, and you kind of set the bar high for what it means to be a professional here in media. I know, you know, we joke and you've got all kinds of things going on, but like the longevity, the creativity, just doing stuff like this, you always take it to another level, man. So it's an honor to know you, man, and you know, glad to be here with
Hey,
your
man,
show,
I
brother.
appreciate it. I hope it's not the last time, man.
No,
You're
not the
welcome
last
here
time.
anytime you want to come by and we can hang out and
Yeah,
talk
brother.
about anything sports, anything you want. And,
Yeah, man. Well, I want to pick your brain on this thing, you know, because
Yeah.
I want to do this on the sports front, man. I think the Valley needs it.
Bro, whatever you need, you let me know, bro. We're here. We got your back 110%, bro.
Ándale.
All right? Ladies and gentlemen, Alex Del Barrio, make sure to check him out. KRGV.com is where you can find him when he does his sports, and also on television. If you want to watch him on Channel 5, on satellite, it's Channel 5,
Channel 5,
and on cable. And if you got regular rabbit ears, Channel 5 is where you see him. And we want to thank him once again, the sports anchor right here, South Texas, the very own Alex Del Barrio. Órale! Yeah! Everybody wave at the camera. Let's go.
Bye.